Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Morning Market Movers, where we do live analysis for day trading and look at potential hotspots in the markets for today. I am Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me, Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. We definitely have some hotspots. There's a lot going on in the markets this morning. Before we jump into it, I do need to quickly share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. So what are we looking at today? Well, number one, let's just go back and look at earlier in the evening. German inflation came out previously at 4.1%, 4.5%. It's going the wrong way. Inflation continues to climb. This story gets infinitely worse. We're going to look at US inflation. These numbers just came out. Previously at 4%, forecast at 4.3%, our core inflation 4.6. Our inflation, that's for the month of October. The inflation rate 6.2%, way above the forecast, way above what it previously was. In fact, that is a 30-year high in the US. So and then even if you take a look at the core inflation, and this is where it starts getting kind of scarier, is core inflation. If you're not familiar with core inflation, that's the inflation for the consumers minus things like energy and food, which can be volatile, and we're up 0.6%. This is not a pretty picture. So, what are we seeing happen in the markets this morning? And there has been some immediate reaction. This is what we're going to talk about today. Gold absolutely exploded. So did silver. We've got inflation and it's taken off and it's finally got priced into gold and silver. Gold, I know, was seeing some resistance, blew through that. All right, so we've got gold and silver taken off to the moon. Equities were a little soft going into those numbers, a little bit down. They're down even more. We're going to see what happens when the retail trader steps in. It doesn't paint a pretty picture, although we are going to have to balance that with corporate earnings, which have been blowing them out. We saw continued strength in the dollar. The dollar spiked some more. I mean, it had been incrementally showing strength. It sort of took off. So we've got a lot to talk about. Gold and silver certainly taken off. Equities weak. I don't even know if we're going to have time to talk about some of that dollar strength. And then we're going to set you up to take a look at oil because we do have that 10:30 oil inventory report. And so we want to give you something else to look forward, to look at hotspot in the market, maybe look for a potential trade there. So Brian, let me flip it over to you. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the additional inflation, increasing inflation, 30-year high inflation. Yikes.
Yeah, I keep hitting the mute button. So, wait, hold on. I think you can hear me again, right?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear
Okay.
you. I know that
I
you
keep
don't want to cough
sliding
on
the
us.
mute button back and forth. Yeah, guys, I don't know. I felt great yesterday. I felt so much better. Stopped taking meds, and then literally at 12 o'clock last night, it was like I just couldn't stop coughing for hours. So I'm gonna keep pausing.
So yeah, Brian's struggling this morning,
I'm
and
dying today. It's
don't
like,
go off
oh
the
god.
meds.
Always follow the directions, guys. Is what I'm saying. Um, Yeah, I mean, I was gonna make the joke that hey, this is all fake news. It's transitory. Don't worry about it. But
It's not.
a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago when we talked about this, remember when what Jamie Dimon said? And I said, hey, it's going to come back, and they're going to have to take extreme measures. Jamie Dimon is not stupid. He's a very intelligent gentleman. Multiple people have said it now. You're seeing it again, and it's as Todd pointed out, and it's a great point from Todd. Even the core number, where we know that it's in oil and gas and food costs. Even with that stripped out, it's higher. And again, this is a month-over-month number. It's building, and now it's accelerating. So we mentioned that word stagflation, and stagflation goes back to we're not seeing economic growth, and we know everybody's starting to slow down a little bit, but inflation's starting to run rampant. And the only way to kind of deal with it is going to be raise interest rates. And at this point, they've basically shown that they are not willing to do that. I don't know if
Well,
they
they're
have to
going to
sell all
have
their
to.
stock
The
first or what it
dollars.
is, but
The dollar's telling them they're going to have to, because that's why you're starting to see that strength in the dollar. But
Yeah, I mean, and you're going to see it. And what's interesting about it? There's one. You're showing the chart of gold today. I think there's a couple things to look at with this. One, obviously, gold is spiking. And we don't even have the retail trader in the market yet. This is all institutional buying right now. Silver at the same thing. Silver is taking a huge spike right off of that 24 level, which again, excuse me, guys.
yeah, I'm going to put up the silver chart too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
very
holy
interesting spot.
cow.
And again, it's not just here. Also go into the cryptos. There's Bitcoin, same spike. Ethereum, same spike, right? Dogecoin, same spike. So every single one of the inflation plays that we see is now spiking right now because it is so high. There's absolutely nothing they can say to say this is transitory. Don't worry about it. And remember, it's like, yeah, it'll continue to be bad for the next, we'll see inflation for 2 more months, and then prices will be high for a year. People are not going to stand for it. It's one of those things. They have the power to control it, and they're doing nothing. So I would say, today. Oh, I forgot to hit the button. I tried. It's like on my left hand. I'm not left-handed.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. You coughed away
Yeah.
the mic.
Yeah, there should be some noise canceling to it. I would say this is a recipe for disaster for the indices. Obviously, everybody knows what Tesla's issue is, and again, Tesla is down. It's showing 12% right now. Having the interest rates this high, that doesn't bode well for anything today. So I think the indices are going to be something to watch. Where we've talked about in recent days, where I'm going to cough again. That was a false alarm. We've talked in recent days that there really hasn't been any bad news to hurt us, and we mentioned CPI was going to be a big one. Seeing CPI this high and seeing everything else out there, it's not a great recipe overall for the indices. On a fundamental basis, they should all be in the red today. Even with things like as great as and I heard it yesterday. They're like, oh, but the infrastructure package is in. Yeah, it's 1/3 the size, and it's not going to provide or protect us from anything right now. Maybe in the future, but
Right.
not right now. It's not going to do anything, except, and again, this was brought up by one side of the aisle. You're going to put all this money into things right now that are at 30-year high for pricing. So are we going to get as much bang for a buck on the infrastructure as what you're saying we are going to? And the answer is no. We won't. So it's 1.2, but it's a 1.2 with inflation as high as it is. So it's actually less. So just something else to think about. I don't know what it is, man. Take those meds. But yeah, so I would say those are the recipes for disaster today. Look for the indices to be down. And then again, I think we need to mention oil as well. Oil actually yesterday, if we looked at the API number, actually came in at a decline. It's kind of a surprise, right? They expected to have that increase in surplus of 1.9. Minus 2.4 is not really the best thing for oil right now. Everybody knows it's there, but again, oil is taking a little bit of a bounce. And the question is, if we get that negative down draw today, again, with all the negativity that's already out there in the news, could that shoot us up over 85? Could we get up potentially up to the 86? Because all of a sudden people say, hey, things are getting bad. We're running out of oil. Oil prices are justified to go higher. Because remember, the VIX is directly kind of associated with it. High volatility means things that we don't want to go up, go up. High volatility, down markets, paying more for oil, it all matches the inflation story. So again, that's a potential option out there today. I would say the European market really didn't do too much. It kind of reset itself. There's a European session right there as far as oil goes. So I would say there's nothing really that kind of stands out saying, oh, listen, it's definitely a long, definitely a short. We just know that it's using this 83 level. It came back and kind of based and pushed higher. We know that there's a level there, but it's basically right now it's closing where it's opening. So it's nothing earth-shattering. But again, we do have a level of sellers sitting right there. So it's kind of set up. But like I said, I think everybody's going to be focused on inflation today. I don't think oil is going to take the front, the front stage.
Go with that oil number at 10:30. I mean, certainly people can be checking it. They are expecting a little bit of a down draw. Well, I guess we'll see what the oil inventory report looks like. You can start looking at it at 10. You could watch it going in at 10:30. But basically, what you're saying is you're not expecting a lot on the oil, mostly because the inflation is the story of the day. I mean, 30-year high.
It's going to be inflation. It's going to be gold. And they're going to mention cryptos as well as it doesn't matter what side you are.
Can we go to that gold chart? Because I was actually just taking a peek at it for just some interesting levels in gold.
Sorry, I was watching natural gas just get worse and worse and worse. Guys, by the way, natural gas is down 4%. Yes, I'd like it.
And I was just trying to look. Are there? I mean, we've obviously taken a big spike here, and
Yeah.
it just blows out any short term. I mean, we probably have to go to a little bit.
Yeah, I'm on a 2 hour right now. I mean, if I
Yeah,
was going to
and
throw some levels out there of where last time we had really strong kind of selling pressure,
yeah,
it was probably up in the range of 1858. Um, we're at what 1848 right now, so about
we're at
another $10
1850
higher.
right now. Yeah,
Yeah, and again on a 2 hour, this is what we saw. Level actually, we had a level basing. It pulled down, pulled back up, and they got hammered down, and that was actually in June. So again, that's a decent level you got to look at. And again, we talked yesterday in the presentation about one of the worst times to buy is after a large push in price. A lot of retail traders will see this right in the next half hour, come all the way up to here, hit a green candle, and be like, "Oh my god, I got to buy gold. Got to
yeah,
buy
and
gold." After the price move has already happened, but the problem with that is there's going to be profit taking. Everybody that's made that $30 or $40 in a half hour, right? It's going to
yeah,
start pulling back
they'll take
because
their
they start
profits
selling.
and run.
Yep. Yeah.
So
So just something to be cautious with it with gold. And like I said, silver will be the same thing. When gold and silver are about the same, 0.9% and 1.25, you know that they're about, again, they're both it's an emotional response. But
yeah, you
and
want to
again,
jump over to the silver chart real quickly? I just want to take a peek at it
yeah,
myself.
silver's the same thing. Again, we've had sellers up in this area before. This was a profit target for longs that we were talking about. Right here was a level, and again, we're really trying to push through that now. We've hit it, and we're trying to go again.
Yeah,
I'd say that,
silver at least it's not. I mean, it's been higher
yeah.
recently, and it's just trying to climb back out.
I
Gold
think
just
25
gold
today on
hasn't seen
silver.
this level again. What'd you say since June?
Yeah, since June.
I mean, that's
Yeah, I would say
we're going on
silver
a
goes
half
to
a year.
25 today. Yeah, I mean, I think with everything we're seeing, once the retail trader gets in there, and again, remember, silver is kind of like the smaller players' way to play inflation. Not through gold.
Yep.
They haven't even got into the market yet, and we're already seeing it spike this high. So, could it come up and play with 25 today? I think absolutely. Is it justified? Yeah, pretty much. So,
All right. So that's what we've got. I mean, in store, gold, silver, definitely hot spots. Oil, we can watch it going into the inventory. Um,
and then
Do
natural
you want
gas.
to take a look at any of the
Or
equity charts as we take a look at, as they do look, and I'm just taking a quick peek here. I mean, how we're looking. They've actually they took their hit. They've come back a little bit. There's still
yeah,
everything's still red on the day. I don't know if there's anything Nasdaq seems to be the one bearing the brunt of
yeah,
it.
that's what I'm
So
looking at
maybe we
right
could just
now.
take a quick peek at the Nasdaq before we call it a
Yeah,
day.
I would say Nasdaq. I mean, right now we're sitting inside of this price drop right here, right? This was, sorry guys, apologize. God, it's killing me today. This is the run up that I'm seeing, right? Right now, there's not really a whole lot holding us back till 16,000. I think 16,000 will be kind of the line in the sand. We do have a lot of basing. If I was going to draw this and say, listen, look at this, how 16,000 is acted as kind of a buffer. It's on the back side of it. So what we may see is this price come down. And again, once that retail trader gets in, it just may be short everything, right? It's only going to take one headline, one senator, one Fed president saying, "I told you so." This is we need to control this now before it gets even worse. And remember, it's also becoming political. So, if you are the front runner, the outliner, that's going to be the first person. It's a decent level. It's good. But with something as big as 30-year highs and raising an interest rate, that's a fundamental change in the system. This may not hold as far as being like a 15-minute level of basing. So I would say right now, 16,000. Again, I'm delayed a little bit. I don't know if it's there or not. I
No,
would say
it's not there yet.
yeah, I would say. I mean, 16,000 is on the radar.
We're 16,000, just above 16,100 at the
Yeah,
moment. But
I would say. I mean, even at the open, I would say that. And again, if you're looking for buyers to take this long to do the contrarian play, the buyers are sitting down here at 15,982. There's some of them down here at 15,900, and even down here at 15,800. So there's a couple levels lower, and I mean, really, additional ways to get short this one. You can see there's already been one pullback, and it's kind of like it's almost like they knew, right? Here's the level of basing. Here's where the news came out right here. It's almost
yeah,
like they knew,
they pulled it back, hit it, and then
right? They pulled it
just
back in time,
tanked
right?
it.
Buy the pullbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. In this case, it was sell the pullback as it pulled back up to a level of basing. So, I would say, yeah, like I said, It's not a positive sign. We'll see what kind of comments. They're going to have to mention something about it. We'll see what the bond auction looks like later today. Crude oil is big. Unemployment is going to be a non-issue. It was like 10,000 more. Like, who cares?
Right.
With the
It's
numbers
rounding
as
error.
big as they are on CPI, this is huge. Remember, the entire world is seeing it. And again, this is where OPEC is like, oh, thank God, it's not just us, it's everybody. You know, because
Right. It's everything, right.
if it was just energies, that would be a huge problem for them. But it's not. It's everything. It's across the board. It's there. They can say it's transitory or not, but when something's there for 2 years straight, building every single month. I mean, the CPI. I mean, if you look at this, I haven't seen a negative CPI thing since this whole thing started.
Yeah,
Oh, here we go.
so
Since 2000 was the first time. So,
alarm bells going off. All
yep,
right.
yep.
All right. Well, with that, any questions for Nadex, please email us customerservice@nadex.com. Any questions for Brian, you can catch Brian at support@keeptradingsimple.com. Quick recap: German inflation, seeing it over on the other side. U.S. inflation, highest in 30 years. Immediate reaction in gold and silver spiking higher. U.S. dollar continuing its strength. Equities opening in the red, being led by the Nasdaq. We do have that oil inventory report, and Brian, we want to let you go and get some rest, feel better. Get some, drink some tea, eat some honey. I don't know, and take your medicine. With that, everyone, thank you for joining us, and good luck in the markets.